Welcome to Hoax Hunters. We are trading the comfort of verified research for, let's say, a journey into the desert, a place where instruments supposedly fail and legend reigns supreme.
That's right. Today, we're diving headfirst into the Chihuahuan Desert in northern Mexico. We're investigating a spot that's become notorious, really, for supposedly defying the laws of physics.
It's called the Zone of Silence, right?
Yeah.
Mexico's answer to the Bermuda Triangle.
Exactly, La Zona del Silencio. And it's a truly fascinating case study. It shows how maybe a local story, amplified by one really big event, can just explode into this international phenomenon.
Okay, let's unpack this then.
Yeah.
Our mission today is pretty straightforward, actually. We're sifting through all the stories, the claims, the source material about this patch of land.
Yeah, this legendary, highly publicized patch of land.
And we want to figure out,
Yeah.
Is this zone of silence genuinely unique? Is it some kind of baffling scientific anomaly?
Or
Yeah.
are we looking at possibly one of the greatest, maybe most successful pieces of local marketing ever cooked up?
Because, the idea of an energy vortex, it's compelling, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
But sometimes let's say the more mundane explanation, sometimes that's wrapped up in an even more entertaining story. All right, imagine this. This is the scenario, the exact experience that, countless visitors have claimed over the last 50 years or so.
Picture it. You're trekking across this really desolate desert expanse, northern Mexico. You're deep inside the Bolson de Mapimi Basin, a huge place.
Scorching sun, nothing around for miles, and you're relying completely on your modern tech, your navigation tool.
So you pull out your compass, check your bearings, but the needle, it just starts spinning wildly, completely useless. It's lost magnetic north entirely.
Okay, bit weird. So you try your radio, shortwave maybe, try to raise someone.
But nothing, just static. Pure, unnerving silence where there should be a signal. Total radio blackout.
So you stop, look around, maybe glance up.
And that's when it gets really strange, according to the stories anyway.
You look up and you see these weird, colorful, triangular lights hanging in the sky.
Pulsing, maybe with these strange prismatic borders. And they're moving in ways that, no normal plane or helicopter could. Impossible maneuvers.
If you feel something, right, like an energy, a pull, like you've just walked across some invisible line into another place.
That's the alleged experience. That's what it's supposedly like to enter La Zona del Silencio.
So the claim, the core theory we're digging into today, is that this patch of desert is a genuine anomaly.
A magnetic vortex, maybe? An
Yeah.
energy node. Some say it's like a funnel for cosmic rays that just pull stuff in. Objects? Energy?
And the idea is that it causes physical laws to just break down, especially electromagnetism.
Yeah.
Radio waves, compasses, they just stop working.
Yeah, the legend insists it draws everything in. Missiles, meteors.
And of course.
And yes, extraterrestrial craft.
Yeah.
Gotta have the aliens.
It's such a visceral idea that immediately grabs you. This quiet, empty desert suddenly becomes the epicenter of these high-stakes, inexplicable failures.
Mm-hmm. And you find hundreds of sources, especially in, paranormal circles, claiming it's aligned with other global energy centers.
Right, like the Bermuda Triangle, the pyramids,
Yeah.
that whole thing.
And the core belief is that anything electrical that crosses this invisible boundary just poof, it ceases to function.
The sheer confidence of these claims,
Yeah.
you just have to investigate it, don't you?
Absolutely. We need to move past the claims, though, and really dive into the specific historical events, the things that gave this, otherwise, let's be honest, geographically unremarkable spot its global reputation.
So we're basically mapping the timeline of the story, looking for that exact moment when maybe a natural inconvenience
Got successfully rebranded as something supernatural when the marketing kicked in.
Okay, so to understand how this myth really took root, we need to look at the place itself, the environment.
Right. The Zone of Silence, it's located deep inside the Mapimi Biosphere Reserve, which is huge, by the way, over 340,000 hectares. Yeah, it stretches across 3 Mexican states, Durango, Chihuahua, and Coahuila. It's remote, it's rugged, naturally isolated, perfect setting for a mystery.
And the geology is important too, isn't it?
Crucial. Geologically speaking, this whole area used to be an ancient seabed, millions of years ago.
Okay.
So when the water eventually receded, it left behind these massive deposits of sedimentary rocks, and these rocks are rich in minerals. Critically for the story, they include magnetic minerals, things like magnetite.
Ah, magnetite. So there is magnetic material there.
Yes, that's a geological fact. But here's the thing. That fact later served as this kind of vague speculative justification for the weird magnetic effects people claimed. It was never actually proven to cause anomalies, but...
But they could point to the ground and say, see? The power's right here.
Exactly. It gave the story a veneer of scientific plausibility, even if it wasn't really connected.
So when did the actual legend start? Before all the marketing?
The very first seeds seem to have been scattered way back, long before tourists or rockets. Our sources point to this early, kind of solitary story from the 1930s.
Okay.
It involves a local pilot, Francisco Sarabia. The story goes that his radio and his instruments just completely failed while he was flying over this specific area.
Convenient.
Very. It's the perfect backstory, isn't it? A single anecdote, really hard to verify now, but it lays the groundwork for the bigger claims later.
And the sources are clear that the actual evidence for this 1930s incident is pretty thin.
Extremely thin, almost non-existent beyond the story itself. But it was out there, floating around locally.
But the name, Zone of Silence, that came later.
Much later, 1966. The Mexican state oil company, Pemex, sent a team, a delegation out there to do some feasibility studies, prospecting, basically.
Okay.
The leader of this delegation was a guy named Augusto Harry de la Peña. And apparently he just got incredibly frustrated. His radios weren't working properly, kept getting static, unpredictable reception.
Just couldn't communicate reliably.
Right. And our sources confirm that basically in a moment of pure annoyance, just exasperation over the silence on his radio gear, he just spontaneously called the area the Zone of Silence, la Zona del Silencio.
Wow. So it was just an off-the-cuff remark, born out of technical frustration.
Pretty much. A complete throwaway moniker. But it stuck, especially locally where people maybe already knew that old Sarabia story.
But it wasn't a global phenomenon yet, just a local curiosity.
Exactly. It needed something bigger, something dramatic, a real high-stakes international incident to properly ignite the myth on a global scale.
And that incident arrived when?
It arrived with a literal bang in the summer of 1970.
Okay. This is where the story really takes off, isn't it? Where it goes from local anecdote to international mystery.
This is the catalyst. July 11, 1970. The U.S. military launches an Athena re-entry test vehicle, basically an RTV rocket from Green River, Utah.
A test rocket. Where was it supposed to go?
It was just a test run. The planned target was the White Sands Missile Range over in New Mexico. Pretty standard stuff. But it went wrong. Catastrophically wrong. The rocket veered wildly off course, completely lost its way.
And it ended up crashing. Where?
Deep inside the Mapimi Biosphere Reserve, right in the heart of the area that was already starting to be called the Zone of Silence.
How far off course are we talking?
Almost 650 kilometers. That's about 400 miles south of where it was supposed to land.
400 miles? That's not a small error.
For that massive error, for the locals watching or hearing about it, it must have seemed utterly unbelievable, like the desert itself had somehow pulled this military weapon out of the sky.
And the American reaction didn't help calm things down, I assume.
Quite the opposite. It amplified the suspicion massively. Our sources detail this huge, very secretive recovery operation the Americans launched almost immediately.
Secretive how?
Well, they dispatched a large team, specialized equipment, specialists. There were rumors flying around that the missile contained radioactive material, specifically cobalt-60, though that was never officially confirmed.
Radioactive material. Okay, that would explain the secrecy.
Definitely. But the intensity of the recovery effort, the secrecy surrounding it, it just fueled local speculation. People were thinking, what is so important about this crash site?
Right. Put yourself in their shoes. Remote desert, hardly anyone around.
Exactly. And suddenly, the U.S. military shows up, operating under this veil of national security. They're rigging up complex systems. They even built a temporary railroad extension right out to the sand dune where the missile hit, just to haul the wreckage out.
Railroad extension. Just for that.
Just for that. The sheer amount of fuss over retrieving this one piece of debris basically confirmed to the locals this rocket wasn't just important, it was dangerous. And its landing site, it must be special, maybe even supernatural.
That secrecy created the perfect vacuum, didn't it? For a different story to take hold.
It absolutely did. And that's where the real, let's call them the architects of the hoax, come in.
The Zoneros.
Yes. Local men, guys from the area who were hired by the Americans during the cleanup, maybe as guards, local guides, general helpers.
And they saw an opportunity.
A massive opportunity. They recognized that this high-profile military screw-up could be leveraged, used to bring attention, and crucially, tourist money, to their remote, frankly impoverished region.
Smart. It's a bit cynical.
Very. These Zoneros essentially became the masterminds behind the modern myth as we know it, and their execution, you have to admit, was pretty masterful.
How so?
Because it wasn't just a simple lie, they were clever. They wove together half-truths, existing facts, and just the right amount of sensational speculation.
Okay, give me the details. What was their core narrative?
The central piece was what you could call the magnetic seduction theory. They started claiming the rocket didn't just fail randomly, no, it was pulled down.
By what?
By unique magnetic fields, atmospheric vortexes, things inherent to this specific spot in the desert. They argued these forces were so incredibly powerful they literally draw in everything.
Everything like?
Missiles, obviously, but also meteors and naturally extraterrestrial craft. It became the place that attracted things from the sky.
Okay, missiles and UFOs. What about meteors? Was there any truth to that part?
This is where they were really clever. The Zone of Silence area does actually have a documented higher than average frequency of meteorite impacts. That's true.
Really?
Yeah, and the Zoneros knew this. They specifically cited documented impacts, there were known ones, in 1938-1954, and perhaps most famously, the nearby fall of the Allende meteorite in 1969.
Allende. I've heard of that one. Isn't it, like, super important scientifically?
Hugely important. One of the most studied meteorites ever. So the Zoneros could point to this documented history of rocks falling from the sky.
And present it as proof of the area's incredible magnetic pull, even though meteorite falls happen everywhere.
Exactly. For the average person hearing the story, especially a tourist, it sounded like undeniable confirmation. See? Even science admits things fall here.
Brilliant marketing, really. But they didn't stop there, did they? They needed more weirdness.
They knew they needed that extra layer, the high strangeness, the stuff that really captures the imagination beyond just magnets and space rocks.
This is where the biology comes in, the mutations.
This is it. They started adding claims of bizarre mutated animals and plants found only in the zone.
Like what? What kind of things?
Well, descriptions of Bolson tortoiseshells shaped like perfect triangles.
Triangle. Seriously.
Seriously. Coyotes supposedly growing to twice their normal size. Giant coyotes roaming the zone.
Okay.
And cactus pads suddenly changing color, turning this shocking, vibrant, unnatural colors.
So weird animals, weird plants, and lakes.
And lights, of course. You always need strange lights. They added the reports of lights dancing in the night sky, often described as colorful, prismatic, and significantly triangular.
Triangular lights. Just like the ones they claimed pulled down the Athena rocket, tying it all together.
Precisely. It was this holistic, multi-layered marketing campaign. It took a remote desert region,
Added a secretive military crash, a genuine meteorite history, a dash of weird biology, and some UFO lights.
and successfully repackaged the whole thing as an international paranormal hotspot. It created this irresistible, almost viral narrative that drew people, curiosity seekers, UFO hunters, not just scientists from all over the world.
Okay, so the legend is now firmly established, right? It's fueled by that rocket crash, the secrecy, the local storytelling, the promise of the bizarre.
Yeah, it's a pretty compelling package by this point.
But then we transition. We move away from the folklore and the tourist tales into the realm of actual scientific investigation. And that's when the entire structure of the myth starts to unravel. Pretty quickly, actually.
Okay, where do we start the unraveling? The rocket seems like the logical place. Ground zero for the modern legend.
Definitely. So the local narrative, the Zonero story, is that the rocket was actively sucked down, pulled by a magnetic vortex.
Right. Magnetic seduction.
But the official U.S. military reports, they concluded the complete opposite.
Which was the sources confirm it. The off-course trajectory wasn't mysterious at all. It was caused by a combination of pretty unremarkable technical factors, primarily a failure in the rocket's guidance system.
A technical glitch, not a cosmic pull.
Just a straightforward hardware failure. The guidance package, which relies on things like gyroscopes and telemetry data, it likely just suffered a minor component failure. Or maybe it received corrupted data. Either way, it sent the vehicle way off track.
That distinction feels really important.
It's crucial. Think about it. When a gyroscope fails, a rocket doesn't suddenly veer towards the nearest supposed magnetic anomaly. It just loses its sense of direction. It keeps going on whatever path its last valid command told it to, often ending up hundreds of kilometers away from the target. Ballistics, basically.
So the official summary described it as?
There's nothing more than unremarkable technical issues. The most spectacular, legend-making event was, in reality, utterly mundane. Boring, even.
Okay, so the rocket explanation is debunked. What about the core premise, the equipment failure? The zone being silent?
Right. if this area really is some kind of global magnetic vortex, then all communication and navigation equipment should fail, shouldn't it? Reliably, consistently.
Makes sense.
But that's just not what independent scientific observation found. At all.
Oh, who found that?
There's a key researcher mentioned in our sources, Andrea Kaus. She actually completed her doctoral dissertation working extensively inside the Matimi Reserve.
So she spent a lot of time there, living and working there.
Exactly. Months, years, probably, not just passing through as a tourist. And she confirmed in her reports quite clearly that she and other scientific researchers had absolutely no trouble with either their radios or compasses while working in the reserve.
No trouble at all.
None reported. Their equipment worked just fine.
Wow. That's pretty damning for the whole zone of silence idea, isn't it?
It's probably the single most critical piece of evidence against the entire theory. If researchers can live and work there for extended periods, relying on their navigation and communication gear, then the fundamental claim of a universal magnetic disruption just evaporates.
The zone is only silent if you want it to be, perhaps. Or if your equipment isn't great to begin with.
Precisely. Or if you're part of the group promoting the silence.
Okay, what about the other weird stuff? The biological mutations. The triangular tortoises.
Ah, yes, the bizarre biology. Turns out those were just easily explained natural phenomena. Things that the Zoneros cleverly capitalized on, knowing the average visitor wouldn't recognize them.
So the triangular tortoise shells.
Not a mutation, it's actually a normal pattern variant within the Bolson tortoise population. This is a real species, by the way, highly endangered, native to that specific region.
So some of them just look like that sometimes.
Yeah, it can be related to their growth patterns, maybe minor abnormalities in how the shell scutes form. Looks weird to us, maybe, but it's well documented in herpetology. It's natural.
Okay, not a mutation. What about the purple cactus pads? That sounds pretty strange.
Also not strange, biologically speaking. It's not high strangeness, it's planned stress response. Cactus pads, especially prickly pear types common there, turn that purplish color as a natural reaction during severe water stress, during dry spells.
So it's like a defense mechanism.
Exactly. They concentrate certain pigments, anthocyanins, which help protect the pads from sun damage when water is scarce. The Zoneros basically pointed to a thirsty cactus during a drought.
And called it proof of mutation caused by the dome's weird energy.
You got it. Simple misinterpretation or perhaps deliberate misrepresentation of basic desert ecology.
Okay, so the magnetic pole is out, the mutations are just natural variations. But what about the original name? The radio silence. Why did the Pemex guy in 1966 have trouble with his radios?
Good question. Because there is a real phenomenon that explains that. It just isn't unique to Mapimi, and it isn't supernatural.
This requires getting a bit technical, doesn't it? Radio physics.
A little bit. The explanation lies in something called a skip zone. It's a real worldwide radio phenomenon that, confusingly, is sometimes also called a zone of silence. The myth basically co-opted the name and sensationalized the cause.
Okay, explain skip zone. Simply.
Right. Basically, when you transmit medium or high-frequency radio waves, like shortwave, they travel in two main ways: ground waves and sky waves.
Ground and sky. Got it.
The ground wave travels along the Earth's surface, but in remote areas, especially with lower power, it loses energy pretty quickly. It gets too weak to reach very far.
Okay, so the ground signal fades out.
Right. The skywave, though, travels upwards towards the ionosphere. That's the electrically charged layer high up in the atmosphere.
And the ionosphere bounces it back down?
It refracts it, bends it back down towards Earth. But here's the key. Because of the height of the ionosphere and the angle the wave hits it, the returning skywave tends to land much further away. It overshoots the area where the ground wave died out.
Ah, so there's a gap. A ring where you can't get the ground wave or the sky wave.
Exactly. You get this ring-shaped dead spot at the skip zone where neither wave component is strong enough for decent reception, just static.
And this happens everywhere, not just in Mapimi.
Everywhere. It's a totally natural phenomenon. It depends on the time of day, the ionosphere changes the frequency you're using, solar activity, lots of factors. It is absolutely not unique to Mapimi, and it has nothing to do with local magnetic fields.
So the Pemex team in '66 likely just experienced bad radio conditions, a natural skip zone effect in a remote area.
That's the overwhelmingly likely explanation. Standard radio propagation physics, not a mysterious vortex.
Okay, that covers the technical stuff.
Yeah.
But we still have the most out there claims.
Mm-hmm.
The aliens, the tall blondes asking for water.
Ah, yes, the Nordics. Can't forget the Nordics. Visitors report seeing unexplained lights, yes, but also having these encounters, always described similarly. Tall, blonde hair, very human-looking, usually 2 men and 1 woman.
And they speak perfect Spanish and just ask for water. Then vanish.
That's the classic story. In UFO circles, these are textbook Nordics, or space brothers, often seen as benevolent aliens. Great story, obviously.
But scientifically?
Scientifically, zero evidence. These accounts remain strictly in the realm of anecdote and, well, true believers. You also get other fringe groups layering on their own ideas.
Like what?
Claims that the small mountains in the area aren't mountains at all, but eroded pyramids built by some subterranean civilization called Magnitotsen, or the idea that the zone sits on powerful ley lines, these hypothetical global energy grids.
Right, connecting it back to the pyramids and Bermuda Triangle idea.
Exactly. But again, scientifically speaking, there's nothing to support any of it. The only legitimate scientific interest in the Mapimi Biosphere Reserve is ecological.
Protecting the actual environment.
Precisely. It's recognized as a really important Chihuahuan desert ecosystem. Incredible biodiversity, over 400 plant species, 200 types of birds, 36 reptile species, including that endangered Bolson tortoise. That's what scientists are actually studying there.
So the scientific consensus is clear.
Overwhelmingly clear. The zone is quiet because it's remote. The occasional radio static is likely just the skip zone effect. There's no mysterious magnetic pole, no aliens asking for water.
Okay. So we have a really clear, step-by-step scientific debunking of pretty much every claim associated with the Zone of Silence.
Seems that way, yes.
So the big question then is why? Why did this hoax, which seems pretty localized and, frankly, easily debunked with basic science, gain such incredible, enduring international traction? How did it cement itself so firmly in global conspiracy culture?
Now we get into the psychology. This takes us straight to a really key psychological principle, apophenia.
Apophenia. Define that for us.
It's basically the human tendency to see meaningful patterns or connections in random, meaningless data. Our brains are pattern-seeking machines, right?
Right. We like things to make sense.
Exactly. And when something big, dramatic, and visible happens, like a secretive U.S. military rocket falling out of the sky in your remote backyard, the human mind doesn't usually jump to, oh, probably a faulty gyroscope.
No, it jumps to something more exciting.
It latches onto the most exciting, the most emotionally satisfying explanation available, especially if there is an air of mystery or secrecy around the event.
And the Zonros, the local guys, they understood this instinctively, or maybe deliberately.
Whether it was conscious strategy or just good intuition, they played into it perfectly. They didn't just invent a story in isolation. They cleverly created connections to beliefs that were already out there. Pre-existing global esoteric ideas.
Like the latitude connection.
Exactly. That was a huge factor in it going international. The myth gained immense weight when people started pointing out that the Zone of Silence lies roughly on the same line of latitude, the 27th parallel north.
As the Bermuda Triangle, the pyramids of Giza, maybe some sacred sites in Tibet.
Right. That apparent geometric alignment, that coincidence, was seized upon. Now, the Zoneros might not have invented that specific connection themselves, but they absolutely leveraged it once it started circulating.
Who pushed that idea, mainly?
Groups already interested in things like planetary energy grids, ley lines, ancient mysteries, they immediately saw this latitude alignment as proof. Proof of what they called a vertical vortex, a point of powerful cosmic energy intersecting the Earth.
So, in their view, the rocket crash wasn't random at all.
No, it was drawn there, drawn to this known pre-existing energy nexus point on the globe. It confirmed their worldview perfectly.
That's the viral engine right there, isn't it?
Absolutely. A mundane technical failure. That's boring. It's unsatisfying. And it definitely doesn't bring tourists.
But a spot on Earth that aligns with the pyramids and sucks down secret military tech.
That story is compelling. It taps into our innate need for pattern, for meaning, for connection to something bigger, maybe even something mystical. And that kind of story spreads like wildfire, especially back then through paranormal magazines and books, and today, obviously, online.
You really have to admire the marketing savvy of the Zoneros, even if it was built on shaky ground.
Oh, definitely. You could call it brilliant, if cynical, market analysis. They recognize that the exciting story, the magnetic vortex, the UFOs, the mutations, was a far, far better economic driver for their region than the boring truth.
Which was just technical failure plus a common radio dead spot.
Exactly. Mystery sells. Mundane reality doesn't. Not in the same way.
But that success, that tourism boost, It came with a downside, right?
Yeah.
Our sources mentioned negative consequences.
Yes, significant ones. While the Zoneros arguably achieved their goal, they brought attention, income, tourists to a previously overlooked area that rush of visitors, especially those seeking the supernatural, often leads to problems.
Like what? Environmental issues.
Environmental ignorance, mainly. Tourists leaving trash behind, wandering off trails, damaging sensitive desert habitats, sometimes trespassing on the specific areas set aside for legitimate scientific research.
So the hoax is actually hindering real science now.
It seems so. Scientists are trying to do critical ecological work there, studying the genuinely unique biodiversity. Remember the 400-plus plant species, the endangered tortoise?
Right.
And their work is made harder by people tromping around looking for aliens or magnetic anomalies, potentially disturbing study sites or stressing the wildlife. The obsession with the manufactured mystery is literally damaging the documented, fragile reality of the place.
So when you step back, the story of La Zona del Silencio isn't just some quirky piece of Mexican folklore, is it? It feels more like a blueprint.
The blueprint for what?
A blueprint for how to create a viral, enduring legend. A hoax that can last for decades, even in the face of scientific evidence.
I think you're right. The essential steps seem pretty clear looking back.
What are they? Step 1, take a real event. Something high profile, maybe a bit confusing, a secret.
Like the Athena rocket crash. Visible, military, secretive, perfect.
Step 2, immediately, before the boring official explanation comes out, attribute that event to something exciting. Unverified maybe, but with a hint of plausibility.
Like magnetic anomalies, drawing on the real magnetite in the ground. Or alien intervention, tapping into existing UFO beliefs.
Step 3, layer it with supporting evidence. Misinterpret natural phenomena, cite unrelated facts like meteorites, add anecdotal stories.
The triangular tortoises, the purple cactus, the lights, the Nordic encounters. Build the narrative.
And step 4, connect it to larger pre-existing patterns or beliefs.
The latitude alignment with other mystery spots, that gives it weight, makes it feel significant.
It's a pretty effective formula, isn't it?
Depressingly effective sometimes.
And the really interesting thing is the core human element seems unchanged. Whether we're talking about radio static in 1970 or, I don't know, some weird glitch on a viral TikTok video today.
We still seem to have that underlying desire, don't we? We often prioritize the mysterious, the sensational explanation over the potentially boring technical one.
The mystery is just stickier, more satisfying somehow, especially if it makes us feel like we're in on a secret or connected to something vast and unknown.
And maybe that's the real takeaway here, looking at the zone of silence through today's lens. When you look at the actual documented data, the greatest discovery in the zone of silence probably isn't some hidden anomaly. It's the stuff scientists are actually documenting. It's incredible, unique biodiversity. The specific ecosystem of the Chihuahuan desert that the reserve protects. That's the real wonder there.
But it gets overshadowed by the legend.
Completely. The magnetic readings are normal. The tortoises are just tortoises. The radio silence is predictable physics. But the legend lives on.
So the technology changes from radio static to internet rumors, but that blueprint for deception, and maybe the flaws in our own thinking that make us susceptible to it, they don't really change, do they?
Seems like they don't. The desire for the mysterious over the mundane is a powerful thing. It's worth remembering that. Stay skeptical.
Absolutely. Stay skeptical.
So, thinking about everything we've unpacked, the rocket, the Zoneros, the skip zones, the tortoises, what stands out most to you listening? Is it the sheer audacity, the marketing genius perhaps, of twisting that rocket crash into a legend? Or is it something simpler, like the fact that a scientist reported her compass worked just fine all along?
Which narrative holds more weight for you? The sensational lie or the quiet documented facts of the natural world hiding underneath? Let us know what you think.